Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I want to talk about the Washington Commanders running back position and how it has been a problem the last 5 to 6 weeks of the season, how they can fix it for this playoff game against the Detroit Lions, because I do think that there are some solutions and adjustments that they can make, and also some things they can do this offseason. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well. Trying to hit 15K subscribers. I know we can do it. It's free. It takes 1 second. Just go ahead and do it. It means a ton to me. It'll make my day if y'all can do it. And if you do it, go ahead and hit that or comment down below that you did so I know you did it. But let's get right into it. Let's stop the yapping. So the Commanders, they won their first playoff game in 19 years, and that is amazing. We've celebrated that the last couple of days. But we got to move on, at least for a little bit, for this, Detroit Lions game. This is a big game. The Commanders, they're like 9-10 point underdogs. The world does not believe in the Commanders, but I think a lot of us Commanders fans think that we have a chance to win this game, especially with Jeanty back there. But if they want a chance to win this game, the running backs have to step up. I mean, not just the running backs, the offensive line does as well, but the running backs have to play better. So in this game against the Bucks, Robinson had 10 carries for 16 yards. I don't know why Grandpa on this graphic says 7 for 15 for Eckler. I believe it was 8 for 25. I'll double check or 8 for 26. I'll double check right here. But Eckler, he wasn't outstanding, but he was good. 8 for 27, so 3.4 yards a carry. I believe all the other numbers are right. McNichols 1 for 1, and then Jaden Daniels 13 for 36, I believe. Yep, 13 for 36. So it was not great running the ball. They averaged 2.5 yards a carry. Mariota had 2 yards on the tush push or whatever the Commanders are going to call that, where Jaden Daniels was in motion or whatever on the outside there. But the run game wasn't good, and they were able to beat the Bucks because of other things. The pass game was pretty good. The defense did some good things, the turnover, and overall, special teams played really well. But against the Lions, you're going to have to be able to run the ball. And I don't know if the Lions' run defense is as good as the Bucks. They definitely don't have Vita Vea and Kalijah Cansey, but they still, they're a good football team. There's a reason why they have the number 1 seed. It's not necessarily because of their defense, but their defense isn't awful. And I think the Commanders need to make some changes on offense in terms of how they're distributing the carries. Am I saying to completely bench Brian Robinson? No. But I think it's malpractice to not have Chris Rodriguez active on game day. You have him, you have Robinson, you have Eckler, and you have McNichols. Have all 4 of them active. There's no reason not to have them all active, and you can have a receiver that doesn't play inactive instead of the running back. And Chris Rodriguez. And you know what? You can start off with Brian Robinson. That's fine. But if he's having another day where he's getting 1 yard, 2 yards a carry, I say give it to whoever has the hot hand. So obviously it's not Brian Robinson if that's what he's doing in that game, hypothetically in Lions game, if he has a couple carries for like 3 yards. Try Chris Rodriguez out. Maybe it's the same result, but at least try it, because he has this season been very, very efficient at, averaging close to 5 yards a carry, has 2 touchdowns, I believe, has had some good games, and he's come in later in games. So, some games maybe Brian Robinson wasn't playing so well, and they bring in Chris Rodriguez and he makes some nice plays. I also think Eckler, he had 8 carries for 27 yards. He was doing better than Brian Robinson was. I mean, over double the yards per carry that B-Rob was getting. So that's another adjustment to make. Take some of those carries away from Robinson. Give them to Eckler. Take some more carries away from Robinson and give it to Chris Rodriguez. I think Chris Rodriguez deserves some carries. Also, I don't necessarily want to see 13 carries from Jaden, especially the carries he was getting against the Bucks. I like the carries to the outside where he has a sideline where he can, has a little bit more open space and he can avoid the hits and, use that sideline. But the ones up the middle, first off, they don't really work. Max, like the best case usually is like 7-8 yards on those. And then the worst case is half a yard or no, a loss of 1. I don't know why I'm stuttering, but a loss of 1 or 2 on the play, and your quarterback has a chance of getting hurt. I don't like that. So maybe take some of, carries away from him there, some of the designed runs. Like I like the runs, a few designed runs are cool and a couple of read options, but I also like the plays where, hey, no one's open down the field, Jaden's going to, scramble. Or maybe you have like a bootleg to the right or something, and you have him running to the outside, and he either can pass it or he can just run it if he doesn't see anyone open. So not necessarily an RPO, but just he has the opportunity to pass it, but also because he's him, because he's quick, he can run the football as well. That's just the guy he is and the type of player he is. He can do that. But yeah, that's what I would say on the situation. Just redistribute the carries a little bit. The Brian Robinson, performance against the Bucks just was not very good. And honestly, it hasn't been good in a minute. I'm going to pull up his game log. It has not been pretty. It has not been pretty. And, on the season, 800 yards, whatever. He's missed some games. I don't know if he's fully healthy, but it's been a while since the injury. So you look at these games, right? 5 for 10. Not good, obviously. 13 for 60 against the Falcons. But honestly, it didn't feel that way. It did not feel that way. Sorry, just trying to pause the video. It did not feel that way at all. And then 10 for 24 against the Eagles. And then 21 for 65 against the Saints. And then he had that good game against the Titans. It was a really good game. He had that 40-yard run. I believe that was a touchdown. And the game before that, 5 for 13. The game before that, 5 for 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. He's had one good game and one okay, decent game, which was the Falcons game. But honestly, watching that game, I did not think he played that well, to be honest. I did not think he played that well. And I wasn't even counting this this Bucks game in that as well, which obviously was not a very good game. And he had a couple fumbles in the Eagles game that, should have cost him the game, but they have Jaden Daniels back there, and the Commanders defense made some plays as well. But yeah, that just has not been a good season for B-Rob as of late. It's weird because he started off the season pretty good. I mean, the first game was but second game amazing. Next game was the game after. I mean, honestly, he was off and on, but definitely better, like more good games than he's having now. Like up until this Bears game, up until the Eagles game, he's having a pretty good season, and then just some injuries and stuff like that has affected him. But for sure, the Commanders need to move on from B-Rob as an RB1 going into this offseason. At least that's what I think. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm tripping, but I think the Commanders need some help at the running back position. Eckler is under contract for another year. Am I saying we need to cut B-Rob? No, because he's still better than a lot of running backs you're going to find on the street and, for free. Or for, whatever. He's going to be able to add to the team, especially he's on a rookie contract, 3rd round pick, end of the 3rd round. It's not going to be a lot of money to keep him on the squad. And he's a good culture guy. He's a great guy and, good teammate, everything like that. So I think keeping him on the team is fine for next year, definitely going into camp. But I do think they need another, running back to add to the squad. And guess what? This running back draft class is very good. And I haven't, we're still in the playoffs, so I haven't really looked at, rankings and film. I mean, I've looked at some rankings because obviously it's right here, but I haven't watched a lot of film. But this is just a list. You can disagree with it, agree with it. There's some that I would change, but this is just a visual for you guys to see the running backs available this year that the Commanders could get. Obviously, Ashton, Jeanty would be amazing. I don't think that's happening unless they want to trade up, but he is a stud. Cam Scadaboo is really good as well. Saw him in the Arizona State game. You got Hampton, you got Caleb Johnson, Dylan Sampson, the 2 Ohio State backs that are still playing that are studs. You got some other guys as well. You got Virginia Tech's very own Bashal Tutin, who is a stud as well. So there's so many guys that they could go after, and I would be fine if, their running back core next year is Eckler, B-Rob, Chris Rodriguez, and then a day 2 pick. I think that is a good spot to, be in with the Commanders. Do they need to get going in free agency and getting a Najee Harris or something like that? This is not very appealing to me. Maybe he is a little bit better than B-Rob. That's debatable. But I think you go to a guy in the draft. That's probably the better scenario there. And there's a lot of really explosive guys that they could go after that I think would be great additions to the Washington Commanders. And it doesn't have to be one of the first 3 guys, because I think some of the next 4 or 5 guys too will be Pro Bowlers. I think there could be 3 plus Pro Bowlers from this running back class for sure, maybe even more. This class is very good, and I think that the Commanders should take advantage of that, add to this squad. The running back position is one of the biggest needs, I would say, for the Commanders. It's not necessarily a first round need because unless you're getting Jeanty, I don't see a guy that you would take there. But receivers in need as well. O-line, they could add a left guard for Allegretti or maybe a tackle. D-end is is a position of need as well. There's positions of need everywhere. You can always add to the squad besides quarterback and some of these other positions like linebackers looking good as long as they can keep Bobby Wagner. But that's kind of just the long term, talking about. I guess it's not that long term. In a few weeks here at the very max, we'll be talking about potential options here for running back and other positions. But just want to talk about it and say there are solutions besides the players on the roster. But this week, very important for our running backs to step up. Brian Robinson has not had a good last 2 months, but hey, let's see what he can do. And then also in the pass game, I don't need to see Robinson get these screens. Eckler's just much better on the screens. You see he has way more wiggle to him. He has way more, shiftiness. Everything you want in a pass catching back, Eckler's better than Robinson at. And I just rather have him there than Robinson. That's one thing. If you want to give Robinson the carries, all right. But at least give Eckler all the screens and stuff. And that hasn't even been the case. But that is it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. Hopefully they get Chris Rodriguez in there. Again, he's a good short yardage back. He hasn't, I think he had one fumble last year. Hasn't had any fumbles this year. Hopefully it doesn't happen, knock on wood. But he's been good. He's a good culture guy as well. Seems like the teammates like him for sure. And definitely want to see him active on game day against the Detroit Lions. We'll see what he does. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.